everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. When a new year starts, people often like to look ahead to the year and try to forecast what kinds of major events will happen in the year and how these events will affect people's lives. So today I'll talk about 6 uncertainties the CCP may face this year. Then I'll give you another update on the situation in Xi'an. On the first working day of 2022, Xi Jinping inspected the preparation work for the Winter Olympics in Beijing. It is certain now that not many, or maybe only very few foreign dignitaries will attend the opening ceremony. It will be very embarrassing for the CCP. But the CCP will try its best to forge ahead with it, as if nothing happened. As the Winter Olympics is a very important so-called facade project for the CCP. The CCP needs it to show to the Chinese people and the world that the CCP is still forever great, forever glorious, and forever correct. Now, let's go over the 6 major uncertainties summarized by Chinese language commentator Zhong Yuan. Number 1, how will the CCP's internal power struggles affect Xi Jinping and the CCP? Although it seems that Xi Jinping's status as the new core of the CCP has been established at the 6th plenary session of the CCP's 19th Central Committee, power struggles continue after that. A while ago, we talked about CCP General Liu Yazhou's arrest. This piece of information was recently confirmed by Yuan Hongbin, former law professor at Peking University. He said Liu Yazhou was not formally arrested, but was put under some sort of internal control. The reason was that Liu Yazhou, as the son-in-law of former Chinese chairman Li Xian, as well as a very influential second-generation Red, was working on getting rid of Xi Jinping at the CCP's 20th National Congress that is due this year, maybe in only 10 or 11 months. Also, in the past few days, there was another very strange thing in China. You know, there are altogether 7 members at the CCP's Politburo Standing Committee. They are the 7 most powerful men in China. And among them, Li Zhanshu, this is a photo of Li Zhanshu and Xi Jinping. Li Zhanshu is the chairman of the Standing Committee of the CCP's National People's Congress. So he is the 3rd most powerful man in China. His position is something like the Speaker of the Congress in the US. The strange thing is, as the chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, he was absent from the CCP's New Year's Eve event when all the other 6 members were there. From that day on, there has been no report about him at all. The latest report about him attending any event was on December 27th. Since then, he has not appeared anywhere. So people started to speculate that there must be something terribly wrong with him. Either he's very, very sick or he has encountered big, big troubles. This social media post says that Li Zhanshu is definitely Xi Jinping's own man and closest comrade. And Xi Jinping and Li Zhanshu's political enemies have managed to gather evidence of Li Zhanshu getting involved in the corruption case of his daughter and son-in-law. The evidence was presented to all other 6 members of the CCP's Politburo Standing Committee except Li Zhanshu himself, right before the New Year's Eve event. So Xi Jinping had no other choice but to let go of Li Zhanshu. The Post also says that Wang Qishan, vice chairman of China, is Xi Jinping's political enemy. But some people say that they don't believe that corruption can be the reason for such a high-profile CCP figure like Li Zhanshu to be removed. The real danger is always siding with the wrong people. Anyway, whatever the reason is, it is true that Li Zhanshu has been absent from public events and news reports for nearly 10 days. So this is only something we can see on the surface. What's happening behind the scenes, nobody knows. The number two uncertainty the CCP may face is how bad the economy could get. Over the past 4 decades, globalization has brought many benefits to the CCP, and this has temporarily saved the CCP regime from a crisis of legitimacy. In the past few years, China's economy has already encountered many problems, but the CCP has been relying on making up fake data to fool the world. However, with the pandemic going on, it will be much harder for the CCP to hide its problems anymore. Recently, the CCP has already admitted that its economic development is under triple pressure from contracting demand, broken supply chain, and weakening expectations. What are weakening expectations? It means people are becoming more and more pessimistic about the future, so they don't dare to spend. That, of course, is a huge problem for the economy. So in 2022, China's economy is at risk of falling into recession. The CCP has intentionally or unintentionally decoupled itself from the world and talked about internal circulation. But will the so-called internal circulation work? We've talked about the huge unemployment, the bursting real estate bubble, the bankrupt local governments, etc. The CCP has no solution to this crisis at all. And also, globally, the economy remains uncertain this year. Hasn't Elon Musk predicted a global financial crisis around spring or summer this year? So amid this global uncertainty, a downturn in China is very certain. What is not yet known is how bad the Chinese economy might be and how badly this will affect the CCP's regime. So that is the number two uncertainty for the CCP in 2022. Number three, how many more countries will the CCP be at odds with? In the past 2 years, the CCP's wolf warrior diplomacy has made many countries feel more and more disgusted about its bullying ways and behaviors. The CCP's economic coalition against Australia, hostage diplomacy against Canada, frequent military provocations against Japan, continued troop deployment on the border with India, its suppression of Hong Kong, its counter-sanctions against the EU, its downgrading of diplomatic relations with Lithuania, etc. All these have made the world see more clearly its true color. So how many more enemies will the CCP create for itself this year? How many more countries will join hands to fight back against the CCP's expansion? That is also unknown. Number four, invade Taiwan or not. In the past year, the CCP played the Taiwan card very harshly, sending numerous military aircraft to harass Taiwan and making it a new norm. The CCP wants to use the Taiwan card to confront the US, as well as to divert attention inside China. In the meantime, the red lines about Taiwan set by the CCP have been stepped on by the US again and again. Also, to tackle the CCP's escalating threat, more countries have proactively responded and formed new international allies in the Indo-Pacific region. Now the CCP has put itself into an awkward situation. It shouted about liberating Taiwan a lot. Now, with Taiwan and the international world getting tougher on the Taiwan issue, the CCP itself got a little bit lost as to what to do. Perhaps the CCP's initial plan was to infiltrate Taiwan, divide Taiwan, make Taiwan collapse from within so that the CCP can take over without a war. That was much easier and more effective. However, because of the CCP's crackdown on Hong Kong, many Taiwanese have been awakened. As a result, the pro-CCP politicians in Taiwan lost bitterly in the elections. So what can the CCP do with Taiwan now? Perhaps Xi Jinping will really fight a desperate war out of the need for internal power struggles. But how the battle will end for the CCP is certainly unknown. Number 5, where the failed zero-virus policy challenged the CCP's legitimacy. We've already done 3 shows to talk about the barbaric zero-virus policy the CCP is applying to Xi'an and its disastrous consequences. Right now, many cities in Henan province, Shanghai, Ningbo city in Zhejiang province, and Jiangxi province, etc., have all reported new cases. There is no doubt this zero-virus policy has already failed and will bring more disasters to the Chinese people, Chinese society, and the Chinese economy. How will this affect the CCP's legitimacy? That remains unknown. Number 6. Are there more black swan and gray rhino events in store for the CCP? In 2022, many unexpected things happened in China, such as the flood in Zhengzhou city we once reported. Who would have expected that thousands could drown in the tunnel of a modern city on their way back home from work? If we can still count that as a natural disaster, there were many other man-made events too, such as a large-scale power outage in China, the crackdown on many industries, big companies, richer entrepreneurs, and celebrities, etc. All of these events have had a huge negative impact on Chinese society and the Chinese economy. There is no doubt that similar events will continue in 2022. Only we don't know how many or how they will affect the CCP, or whether there will be some deliberate attempts to create sensational troubles for the top-level CCP leaders, etc. No matter what, the year 2022 will be the one when the CCP rushes faster and faster towards its own demise. Well, those are the 6 uncertainties for the CCP this year. Surely there could be more, so let's keep a close eye on what will happen. Next, let's do a quick update on the situation in Xi'an. Today is already January 5th. Has the CCP's goal to zero out new cases by January 4th been achieved? Well, as expected, according to the CCP, yes, it has. So this is today's report and the trend chart. You can see the case number dropped sharply, right? Yesterday, the reported new no-code case was really 0. Today, they reported another 35 new cases, and the total confirmed cases are 1,928, with 150 already cured. Altogether, only 3 people died of COVID in Xi'an. 3 deaths in a city with 13 million people. Do you believe that? Actually, in the past few days since the lockdown on December 23rd, I myself have already seen 5 cases of people dying from other diseases because they couldn't get treatment during the lockdown. There must be more cases that we don't know of. So in this sense, the lockdown has killed more people than the virus already. It was estimated that several hundreds of thousands of people have been taken away from their homes for centralized quarantine. This kind of large-scale forced transfer of population has never happened before. Is this really for disease control? Or is the CCP testing people's degree of tolerance in preparation for something else? We really have no idea. There's another very interesting thing from yesterday, the so-called one-code pass system that is used to connect and store everyone's health code collapsed for the second time, right when the CCP's Vice Premier Sun Chunlan was inspecting a residential area. People could no longer log in or upload their test results to the system. So some people joked about the zero virus goal was not achieved physically, but technically, as no new cases or data could be uploaded to the system. So of course, there were no new cases. And you know what? Today, the director of the Big Data Bureau in Xi'an was fired. The official notice clearly said he was fired because he didn't do his work well, so it was directly related to the collapse of the one-code pass system yesterday. So now let's watch some video clips I put together to give you a visual idea of what life is like under the CCP's tyranny. I've put some explanations on the screen, so please read them while you watch. In the meantime, I'll try to do a simultaneous translation. The first clip is most upsetting. It shows a pregnant woman sitting outside a hospital and bleeding badly. Because her test results expired for 4 hours, she wasn't allowed to get in. She waited for 2 hours before she was finally admitted, but it was too late. She had a miscarriage, and her 8-month baby died.
看姐，你看眼里成啥了？我在高新医院这门口的，这是高新医院。
So this is a Kaohsiung hospital. See how she's bleeding? So this shows a very strange way they are using to clean the virus. So this is a tunnel or somewhere under a bridge. So people are taken there. No bathroom, no heating. So this is a television confession. He said, I came out because I need to buy stuff because I couldn't buy things on the internet. I only consider my own well-being. I didn't consider how my behavior
以后我会向以后我作为西苑小区的居民，我会严格按照社区规定积极配合防疫工作，争取能给防疫工作帮上一点忙，尽自己的微薄之力。最后我想说一句：西安加油，我们一定会胜利的。首先，在咱们政府的爱心呵护下，昨天给他们大家2000多户，每家每户都发了蔬菜。那为什么你刚才还念了是因为没有吃的没有蔬菜翻越？疫情当下，防护安全人人有责。你今天翻越了我们小区隔离护区，就是在抗拒疫情。国家不会同意，政府不会同意，我们工作者更不会同意。这次也是在镜头给你一个警告，如果再有一次，我会把你依法交到公安机关处理。行，不会再有了。2000多名住户，因为你这一件事，就会给辖区给小区带来了重大失误。在这里，通过咱们的镜头，也呼吁各个区域积极配合小区、统门社区也好，区上也好，配合志愿者把防护工作做好，理解工作，多多理解，这样我们早日能见光明。西安加油！对于我们这些工作者，疫情不退，我们不退。再次咱们呼吁一下。来，连湖平安，西安加油！连湖平安，西安加油
！So they are shouting, Xi'an stay strong. So that's a mini version of television confession. Now let's watch another.
不是你听这个口罩戴上，哎，现在公安机关依法传真你上派出所出示证照。
So this is how they treat people who go out.
怎么样？就不咋呼了吗？
哎呦，我的妹！哎呦，我的妹！哎呦，
给你喝点你不听吗？
哎呦，我是，哎呦。
你别美，别有啥？
So this man was
你真係啊！你咁樣
pushed out of the subway because he didn't have a mask with him.
拉起来！
This woman was also arrested for not wearing a mask. This young girl was arraigned and criticized for not wearing a mask. So they took a photo of her to shame her. This old man was for not wearing a mask. So this is a rural area. The wild people.
骂人，不要骂人，你还一直骂。
大哥。
This girl was trying to call some of her friends. She said, I'm at the Xi'an district.
那意思你想踢人家正常，你自己想动的时候，正常你
She
不敢踢
kept
吗？
saying my waist is going to be
把口罩戴好，
dislocated.
小区那
口
边。
罩戴好，
And they are asking her
把
to
鼻子
wear
遮
a
上，
mask
鼻子遮上，
well.
口罩戴好，
我手机。
口罩戴好。
你他妈是
She
不是有
said,
病？我告诉你，
give
西安这
me
边的，我
my
操！
cell
我
phone.
我手机脱臼了，我上手段政府没法，你们给我是不是有病呢？他妈喊你妈逼了，我不喊你他妈能放开不？
My waist is is going to be located,
我还以为老子警察局里面，我他妈我大电视开里面给我上
She's personal policeman.
你这样考虑上
你把这成不成啊？就你能行？
你把老子手给废了，老子跟你没完。
是吧？那我要看看。
就跟你没完，你他妈大傻逼！
你把我，
你他妈臭傻逼！不动我吗？跟我出去！
这边路口都已经封了，不允许出来。
So this is at Yuzhou City in Henan Province.
现在发展镇各个村口全部已经封死。
So they are also under lockdown. So because of this pandemic, don't run everywhere. So the loudspeaker speakers say you should scan your health code, measure your temperature.
哦，这排队快轮到了，前面没有几个人。
So this is in Yuzhou City in Henan Province.
准备走续了，马上
pandemic has spread east to other provinces. Many cities in Henan Province already had new cases. So all the people in the village were taken there to do the testing. So this is in Yuzhou City in Henan Province. So this is in Ningbo City, a quarantine site. So please everyone take your personal stuff and necessities, medicines, and gather at the end of the village. So these are people in Ningbo City also taken away for quarantine. Okay, that's all I prepared for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new here, please subscribe to and share my channel. If you are an old friend, please like and share my videos and to give them a boost. Also, please consider going to my website at jenniferzengblog.com. Sign up for membership so that you can get more benefits. You can also choose to make a donation there to show your support. Thank you very much. See you soon.